my fellow comic book collectors. It's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and this is the Monday video where we look at the hottest Silver Age comics of the week. I'm joined with my good friend from the overseas, Mark from Suddenly Comics, and yeah, I hope you find this a really cool list. It's actually got a lot of interesting things on it. I like this one. I was like, oh, that's a really cool comic. Oh, wait, that's a really cool one. So when I did this list, I was really basing it on cool elements that I know Mark will love because it means that he'll have to look up a whole bunch of things. And he loves doing that extra work. It's just a thing Mark likes. I
See,
have to appeal to
Alan
Mark.
picks these deliberately. Picks restored signs, which
Not
are
just restored, conserved as well in this list.
oh,
Conserved, signed. There's like so many.
and
Oh, it's awesome. It is fun.
because they don't do restored signs as a separate category, so you have to do all sorts of right.
It's like lots of
Okay,
fun work.
shall we kick off?
Yeah, let's get into it.
We are known now for being
And there's a giant key on this list. You must admit, there's a giant key on this list.
there is.
I think it's on your list though. So if you want to see a giant key,
Oh,
go over
here's a
to Mark's
giant
list.
key,
This is another. This is not a gold key. This is Dell. Yeah.
but it's still a giant.
Uh, it's a giant. Yeah, that's true. This is the Flintstones, number one.
No, it
And
isn't. It isn't. It's Del
well, it's Dell
48,
Giant, but it's the
the
first
first
Flintstones.
comic with the Flintstones in.
Yeah. Yep. And I love this cover because you get all the key characters on the cover. And it's
No,
their first
no, I
appearance.
disagree. We haven't got Pebbles and Bam Bam.
Pebbles and Bam Bam don't appear in this comic.
No.
They appear later.
Okay.
So you got the core family, the Rubbles and the Flintstones, and you get their pets.
Yeah.
Um, Actually, in terms of the cartoon, I think Pebbles and Bam Bam were introduced later on.
Were they later additions? Yeah, probably
Yeah,
were. Yeah.
yeah. There's actually a thing where Betty and Wilma, I think, are pregnant.
Oh, okay. It's a
Yeah,
bit avant-garde for
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. I remember a
Barbera.
thing like that. I haven't watched Flintstones in 30 years, but I'm pretty sure I remember that. Um, but yeah, so this is this is a fun one. The first Flintstones.
Yeah, I have been picking up Flintstones because we've had them on the channel a few times and they've been doing really well.
They do really well, and they're fairly scarce,
Yeah, so I
especially in higher grade. Above a six is really
yeah, the
hard to
last
find.
London Comic Mart, I picked up Teenage Pebbles and Bam Bam number one
Oh wow, that's cool.
and Barney and what's his name? Betty? Is she Betty?
No, Pebbles,
No, who's Barney's wife? This
Pebbles.
no, that's not
Oh,
Pebbles.
Barney Rubble. Oh, and Betty. Yeah, Betty.
Barney and Betty. But
I thought you were thinking. I was thinking Bam Bam. Sorry.
Barney and Betty number one.
Oh, I didn't realize there was a Barney and Betty number one.
Yeah, there is. And I also picked up the first ever Hanna-Barbera cartoon comic, which is predates this, obviously.
Yeah. What's that one?
It
That's
was Mutton and Jeff and Jeff and
Mutton and Jeff.
Mutton and Jeff. No, Jeff and Rosie. Jeff and anyway.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, cool, cool,
yeah,
very cool.
yeah.
So I'm having an influence on the market here
Yeah, well, you are because
with market with Mark.
I'm buying
Market.
Flintstones and Hanna-Barbera related items.
Yeah, we're getting Mark to buy. This is cool. I'm glad my FOMO is going out there for you. I personally I was a big fan of the Flintstones. Like it was one of those shows that they would air every day. It's like it was a cartoon that would air at lunchtime a lot of the time. So I'd watch it a lot. So yeah.
Yeah, we used to watch it.
Um, so first appearance of the Flintstones. I think it's a reasonably good price. It says that it shows that it's around $100 a point at this value. It's like 660, I believe it's sold for.
Yeah, it sold for 660. Shall we have a look, see how that is, whether that's
Yeah,
good or not?
it might be a little bit down because this one actually was one of those ones that did really well during COVID.
Yeah, I think there's a COVID peak on this. There is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
Oh,
Actually,
that's
that's
not
not even a
COVID.
COVID peak.
That's not COVID.
What is that?
That is August 23. So that's outside of COVID.
That's outside of COVID. Wow, this
And then
one
there's a
took a
huge
bit of a
drop here.
dive.
Somebody got a real bargain on this here. In
Yeah,
the
what was that COVID bump? What was that that not COVID, but the last big sale?
1,241.
So they got it for half price.
Yeah, they got it for half that. Well,
Wow.
hang on. The person before picked this one up at 336.
Oh wow, they got it
Somebody
for a
got an
fourth.
absolute steal here in November.
And now it's sort of popping back up
It's
again.
popped back up again a bit.
Wow. That is really interesting. Because you look at that line, it's a pretty steady line up.
With a big lineup. I mean, that goes from $87 to $1,200 in a period of 8 years.
Yeah.
What
And then it
percentage increase is
corrected.
that? It's enormous.
And what were where were the sales where it was really cheap? I
This
can't
one,
quite
this
see
one
that.
here, in
Oh, that was Heritage?
November. Yeah, Heritage in November.
And then Heritage now is double. Okay.
And yeah, double. Yeah, it's
Interesting.
all over the place. What, one, two, 300, 600.
Wow. Interesting. Very interesting. So, and if you look at the census, a really low census count on this book.
Let's have a look. Oh, it's really low. 156.
Yeah. Considering it's a fairly major, like, I mean, the Flintstones are well known.
Yeah,
Is
they
it,
are.
this
Yeah,
is,
and they're sort of one that kids, if I said the Flintstones, they'd know them.
yeah.
Um, whether if you got a 10-year-old off the street and said Flintstones, whether they'd know them or not, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm not sure if the younger generation now knows them, but um, definitely one that I think a lot of people have nostalgia for. Um, so interesting. Okay. Well, I didn't think it was going to be that much of a drop, but it doubled the previous sales. That's always good.
Yeah. Yabba dabba doo. Right.
Wow.
Onward.
Interesting.
Flash 123. It's the first golden age Flash in the Silver Age.
Yes. And it's the first time that they have the idea of the multiverse.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Um, this is an interesting one, and the reason I picked it is not because it's Flash 123, but it's Flash 123 conserved grade. And one of the things, my rule of thumb with conserved grades is that it's always half whatever the blue label is.
Okay, well, let's see if you're right. So Flash 123. Yeah, but this is signed as well. So this is you've got no way of working out whether this is good value or not. Because not only is it conserved, it's signed.
It's signed. Yeah, I love to add little bonuses for you. Okay, so you can thank me later. It's okay. It's
Right,
okay.
well, let's start off with a simple
What would this normally sell
so
for
a
as a
6.5 normally. Current firm a 6.5. Oh no, that's signature.
that's signed? That's signed. Let's go with the normals first.
We'll go with the normals first. So 6.5,
I'd say 2 to 3 thousand.
1.8 is the current fair market value.
Okay, this is actually more than, but it is signed. So
It's signed by Gardner Fox as well, and I don't think that's a very common signature.
yeah, that's a really rare one.
So about 1,800 looks about right to me. It's not a, it's not an outlier. Uh,
Okay.
right. So if you add a signature,
Okay.
6.5.
So I would say half of the signature price, which would be my
Well,
guess.
unfortunately, there's never been a.
There is no signature. What's the 6.0 signature one
Well, it's
then?
but it's from 5 years ago, at 1,200.
Okay.
You can't
Well,
really,
that's
you
not
can't
really a
really
good
guess that.
comparative.
No. So, so we don't have a signed price to compare. Let's have a look at restored.
Or conserved as well. Yeah. But okay.
No, but oh, they've got conserved on here.
Yeah.
Conserved at 6.5. I don't bet. Oh, there is one. It's the one which just sold.
And did it sell before? Oh, this is a record again. We've got a massive record and we have to go, yay, we got a record.
Well, yes, but you just about get a record on any conserved one because there's only eight total.
Yeah, this is pretty rare. It's actually rare to see conserved books from this era, really. I don't know. I mean, they're not usually requiring conservation. Restored is way more common, obviously.
So
Um,
it is about half the unconserved. Forget the signature. It's around about half, isn't it? It's a bit over half, probably because of the signature.
yeah, yeah, I would say this is kind of right in line with where you would expect it to sell for.
Yeah, yeah. So it's
Yeah,
a bit over half without the signature, and a bit over half with the signature. And the signature's not on the cover; it's on the front page. You can't see it in a slab.
yeah. I mean, look at the census. It's 1,500 on the census, by the way.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, that just shows you like that's I would say is a reasonably high number for DC comic actually. I'm used to the DC numbers being like under 1,000 sometimes. It's like so much rarer than Marvel. Um but this one I think a lot of people if they get it graded.
okay, and we think that's about the right price. Yeah,
Yep,
right.
yep.
Okay.
Pretty fair price.
Avengers 3. We don't see the Avengers 3 very often, are
Yeah,
we?
I was a bit shocked by this one because if you look at this one, just wait, go back up just for a second. Right next to it are two other Avenger 3s.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and the price for those ones are way below this one.
Yeah, because this one's graded 8.5.
Yeah, yeah, and those ones are much lower. I
Yeah.
get that. But here's a couple things just in my mind when I see that kind of situation, I think, wow, three copies in the same auction. That
Yeah.
is the worst situation.
Yeah.
If I was the seller, I'd be like so annoyed
Yeah.
because you know you're not going to get top dollar, right?
Exactly, because somebody's in the market for an Avengers 3 and they go and there's one copy available.
And
Then
how many people are in the market for Avengers 3 anyways?
and not many, I wouldn't have thought. Anyway,
Yeah, I mean, it does have a key thing. It's the first time you get Hulk and I forget who it is, Hulk and Ant-Man or one of those two.
I thought this cover is very familiar. It's like Hulk with a mole man, somebody breaking through a wall and seeing somebody on the other
Or
side.
is it Hulk and somebody? Is it Hulk and Submariner first team
Yeah,
up or something?
yeah. First
Yeah.
Hulk and Matt Submariner team up.
Yeah, I knew it was I was trying to remember which character it was. Yeah. Submariner, yeah.
Yeah.
Says it quite big on the cover, so that's and they're versus the Avengers.
Yeah, and Spider-Man, who's not on the cover.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So how did this do? Given that you're right, it's probably not done too well, and there's two other copies available.
Yeah. But I was actually impressed by the price. It seems quite expensive actually for
Well, it's down here, look.
yeah.
Yeah, it's about the same as the previous sale, about 1400. It seems to be
Yeah,
hovering
you know
around.
what? It looks like it's back on the trend line. If that's sort of a trend line that kind of thing
Well, if you
before.
take Feb 2020, which is pre-COVID, it was 1466. So it's about exactly what pre-COVID.
Was, yeah. Okay.
So
Interesting.
it's on the trend line if the trend line is flat.
Yeah. Well, it looks kind of flat. It looks kind of
Yeah,
like goes up and then
yeah,
comes
yeah,
back down, goes
yeah,
up.
yeah.
Um, so yeah. So not I wouldn't recommend this as an investment book.
No,
Um,
I wouldn't either. It's not going to make you rich quick.
yeah. This one has a lot on the census though. Like 1,900 on the
Yeah,
census.
1900 on census.
Low for Marvel, high for other books, but it's not one that's a major enough key that people would kind of go out and pick it up.
No.
I just don't um yeah, but it's interesting. Okay. That's why it's on the list. I was just curious how it really didn't impact the sale too much. It's kind of where you would expect it to be.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I suppose because if you're in a market for grade, it's a good question between the graded market and the ungraded market.
Yeah, which do you
There can be
prefer?
two different populations. Some people like you and me buy raw and graded, although you're about 80% graded, 20% raw.
Well, no, they're actually the other way around.
Oh, are you?
I mean, my collection is like 30,000 and I
Yeah.
have about 2,000 graded.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So
So
I'm about 3 or 4% graded. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Moving on. Daredevil number one. Oh, here we go again. It's
this
restored,
is a fun one. Another
but it's
restored
not
book.
signed as well, is it? No.
No, it's not signed. So
Okay.
it's not, I gave it an easy one for you.
Right. So Daredevil 1, 4.5 restored. Um, what's the level of restoration like?
That's actually important. Good question.
Restoration includes small amounts of
Slight,
oh, it's fairly
slight
minor.
amateur.
Yeah. C1, it's fairly minor.
Just quickly scan along the spine. It's usually the
Yeah.
spine where they do something wonky,
Color touch. I
or maybe in the greens. I don't know.
can't see it. It's but quite a
Maybe
lot.
wait. Look at Spider-Man's head. What's going on there? Go up.
Well,
Zoom
it's
in
got
on his.
tear on it.
It's just a tear. Or his
I
shoulder,
can't
maybe?
see the color touch, so it's
Maybe
not
it's on his shoulder. What's that like weird spot on his shoulder?
where it's just
Right
look.
there.
Yeah, that's not color touch. That's more grubbiness.
This is
Uh,
where you get a black light and you go,
yeah,
ooh.
that's right. Yeah, you need a black light to see it.
I
Um,
mean, the easiest way to see restoration I find is not just a black light, just open the book and
yeah,
usually you get the bleed through, right?
yeah, exactly. Not
But
that easy to do when it's in a slab. Right.
yeah,
Um, okay, so 4.5 restored. Restored. So I've got 4.5 restored. What was it? 6.5?
no, 4.5. 4.5
4.5.
restored.
Oh, it's down. Down significantly. So, but the previous sale was a COVID sale.
Okay, previous sale was 3,100.
Correct. In COVID, and this well sold for 1980.
Okay, so we got
It's
it
back to
going.
pre-COVID, Alan. It's back to pre-COVID, basically.
Well, how did the other? Okay, let's see how a 4.5 CGC Blue Label performed.
Well, I suspect it's also back to pre-COVID.
Yeah, I mean, or did it go down as much? You know what I mean? Like that was a fairly big spike, but it kind of came back down.
Well,
I bet the spike is higher in this. You know what I'm
um,
saying?
actually not back to pre-COVID though. So it's higher than pre-COVID, the unrestored.
Okay, so it's roughly
Yeah.
3,100. Okay.
3,000. Yeah.
And this went for around 1,900.
Yeah.
So this is about like 60%
Yeah.
of the.
Yeah, which
Okay.
is what you expect, isn't it? About that for
Yeah, about that for this grade, right?
yeah, it sounds about
Um,
right to me.
and then what was the spike?
Here, the spike on the grade is much higher.
Yeah, it
Um,
went crazy, didn't it?
7,300.
So the overall price has dropped more on this one,
Yeah, but it
on
went
the
up
blue,
more.
but the purple label kind of like stayed within that 60% range.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So and what's the census on this one? It's a pretty high census, like 5,000 or something, 6,000.
6,700.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the Marvel effect that everybody knew that this is the number one, gotta save it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah. But key appearances, first appearance of Daredevil, great book.
Yeah. Yeah. Big first kit. Big premiere issue, Alan, but it doesn't say it.
Yeah, without the big premiere issue. Big premiere issues were 67, so
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
67, 68, or somewhere around there.
Right. Uh, last one. Marvel Super. You don't see this one very often, Alan. Marvel Superheroes number 13 in a high grade. And this
Yeah.
is the first appearance of Carol Danvers.
Yes. This used to be a big key. This is one of those books that actually went up before COVID.
Right,
It was like really in demand before COVID because of the Captain Marvel movie.
right. Yeah,
But that movie, though it performed well in the box office, it was not necessarily liked. the Marvel did something really sneaky with that movie. They basically said that in order to understand Endgame, you have to watch the Captain Marvel movie. And so that was sort of like, oh, all the people back then, you basically you could create anything. Like you could put a toaster on screen for an hour and, just slap Marvel on it and it would be $1 billion movie. So this is in that kind of like, you know, thing where people really didn't like Carol Danvers in a way. She didn't really like the actress really kind
Brie
of turned
Larson.
people away. Yeah, Brie Larson really didn't appeal to the fans much.
Right. Well, she
So I'm
wasn't.
curious. I was curious when I saw this one. It's a big sale, but I was curious how well it performed, considering all the history.
I'm going badly.
I would go badly too. That'd be my guess.
What grade was it? 9.4. There it is.
9.4, which is really high grade.
Oh, look, it's awful.
It is awful. But you see that spike, it happened
Yeah,
before
look how
COVID, I
high
think,
this went. This went up to $15,000.
back in 2019,
Yeah. 2018. So that's pre-COVID.
2018,
Pre-COVID.
way before COVID. That's why I was saying this is a book that it's not the COVID spike, it is
No,
that movie spec.
no, there's no spike in COVID.
Well, during COVID, she'd already ruined her reputation in terms of how the fans felt about her.
Oh dear, oh dear. I mean, this is dire.
This is
Blimey.
before, this is actually going back to pre Brie Larson
This
spec.
is now, this is now, oh wow. Okay, you have
It's
to go
even
back.
below that, probably.
Yeah, you have to go back to 2016. Um, yeah, yeah,
So,
that's 2016 price.
yeah. And this really goes to show how much one bad movie or multiple bad movies can really hurt a character. You know, um, I think of all the characters that they did in the last few years where people are like for example, the Eternals or some of the ones like She-Hulk, that
Shang-Chi,
people are what?
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi. Yeah, like there's so many that they did, and people are like, well, now I don't really like the character. Like I used to like the character, but now after seeing that movie, I'm not sure anymore. Um, yeah, so I think this really shows the damage that can be done.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, poor old Captain Marvel.
Mm. But the funny thing is, Captain Marvel as a comic book character hadn't really performed ever very well. They kept on having to bring it back, like as in a new form, the new
Captain
costume.
Marvel performed perfectly well in the 19 very early on.
Well, it didn't last very long. It only lasted a couple of years, I think.
Um,
Captain Marvel, I think it lasted like 20 some odd issues.
what was it when Fawcett had it?
Oh, that Captain Marvel.
Well, it's
I
called
meant
Captain Marvel.
yes. Okay, okay. Sorry. Yes, yes. I was
Very
thinking like
popular. It was actually more popular than Superman.
yes, that Captain Marvel, but that's a completely different character.
Well, no, it's not. It's Captain Marvel.
Well, it's a different Captain Marvel. It's a different character.
Carol
this is the
Danvers.
Marvel's
Carol
Captain Marvel.
Danvers is a different Captain Marvel to the Captain Marvel in this comic.
Of course, it's a very different character.
Um,
But yeah, yeah.
but the
So
Captain Marvel name has been tarnished, regardless of
yeah,
which Captain Marvel it was.
yeah, they're both tarnished. I don't know. I feel like the other Captain Marvel, the Fawcett Captain Marvel, is really tarnished for the wrong reasons. I actually enjoyed both movies. Like they were watchable. They weren't the best movies, but they were watchable. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They were entertaining, and that's really sometimes all you expect. Like you don't expect like, oh wow, I'm now a better person because I've watched that movie. Um no, it's like it was watchable, it was entertaining. That's pretty much sometimes all I expect. Yeah.
right. Okay.
So yeah, so that's it for this week on my side. But on Mark's side, I promised you a major key, like probably one of the biggest keys that you'll ever see on comics, um, is on Mark's channel. And you got to go over there to find out what it is. It is huge, it is awesome, and it's expensive.
All I will say is just remember to bring your insect repellent.
There's a few arachnids, maybe. So yes, go over and check out Mark's channel. It for the rest of the list, the top 5 of the week. Thanks again for watching, everyone. Bye for now.
Bye.